Once upon a time in the bustling city where luxury and poverty existed side by side, there was a man named Adrian Carter, a self-made millionaire whose presence commanded attention in every room he entered, his tailored suits and sharp gaze reminding the world of his success, yet behind his confident smile there lived a loneliness he rarely admitted even to himself, for though he had money, mansions, cars, and the admiration of society, his heart remained untouched by true compassion, until one evening when fate decided to turn his life upside down, an evening when he had just finished a long business meeting and stopped at a quiet outdoor restaurant to have dinner, seeking to unwind with a plate of roasted salmon, colorful salad, and a glass of expensive red wine. He sat alone as the city lights shimmered in the distance and the world moved around him, and it was there, in that very moment, that his life was destined to change forever, because just as he was about to take his final bites, a young woman appeared on the sidewalk, barefoot, wearing a worn-out beige dress that had seen better days, her hair tied in a messy bun, her face pale yet still carrying a fragile beauty that life's hardships could not erase, and in her trembling arms lay a tiny baby wrapped in a thin blanket, its soft cries piercing the night. The woman knelt down beside his table with eyes full of desperation and whispered with a voice so soft and broken that it could melt the coldest heart, "May I have your leftovers, sir?" And in that instant Adrian froze, fork in midair, his mind confused and his soul shaken, for though he had seen beggars before, something about this woman was different, something about her eyes held not just hunger but a story, a storm of silent suffering and unspoken strength, and when their eyes met it was as if the entire city disappeared, leaving only him, her, and the fragile life she clutched to her chest, and against his own logic he found himself leaning forward, staring deeper into her gaze, feeling an emotion he had long forgotten. Empathy, raw and undeniable, a tug at his heart reminding him of the days when he too had known what it was like to have nothing, for once upon a time, long before wealth and fortune, he had been a struggling boy abandoned by his father, raised by a mother who worked 3 jobs to feed him, and as he looked at the trembling woman, he saw his mother's reflection in her eyes, her determination, her sacrifice, her pain, and in that moment something cracked open inside him like a miracle he never expected, as if destiny had sent this woman to remind him of who he truly was, not the millionaire society admired, but the boy who once prayed for a single meal, and so instead of pushing her away or giving her scraps, he set his fork down slowly and whispered back, "These are not just leftovers, please sit, I'll order fresh food for you." But the woman shook her head, her pride warring with her desperation. "No, sir, I don't want to trouble you, just a little piece is enough for my baby." And her words stabbed his chest like a knife because she was willing to take less for herself if only her child could have a chance to survive. So he stood up, pulled out the chair beside him, and said firmly, "No trouble at all, you and your baby deserve more than scraps. Please, sit." And as the woman hesitated, holding her baby tighter, the waiter arrived, surprised by the scene, but Adrian ordered without hesitation, "Bring 2 full meals, warm milk, and something sweet for the lady," and for the first time in what felt like forever, a faint tear rolled down the woman's cheek, not from sadness but from the strange unfamiliar feeling of kindness, and as they sat together, she slowly revealed her story in broken fragments, how her name was Lily, how she once dreamed of becoming a nurse, how life betrayed her when her husband abandoned her after she became pregnant, leaving her homeless with a newborn, how she wandered the streets begging not for herself but for the child who depended on her, and how every day she prayed for a miracle, never imagining it would come in the form of a stranger in a suit. And Adrian listened silently, his chest tight with emotions he couldn't explain, realizing that perhaps he too had been waiting for a miracle, for something to wake his soul from the emptiness of riches. And so as the night deepened and laughter spilled from other tables, an invisible thread formed between them, a bond of compassion and hope, a miracle born not of wealth but of humanity. And in that silent exchange of glances, Adrian knew that his life would never be the same again.